Hello, welcome to the officially unofficial Geek Weekly Comic Roundup. I am your host, as always, Carrie Quinn. Here I am telling you about the comics that I read, what I thought of them, what you should know about them, in as spoiler-lite as I can. Yeah, sometimes spoilers do get out there, but hopefully not a lot. We stopped short of giving the big ones, if you know what I mean. And, let's get this started. I think I've gotten the cat calmed down long enough so that I can do this. So yeah. So basically, like always, I read comics and I tell you what I think of them, and I also give you my picks of the week, in which I will be doing a spoiler-tastic video of later and posting it here to the channel. Please, like I said, like, subscribe, comment, tell your friends about the weird awkward girl that reviews pop culture stuff, specifically comics. And let's get started with Wonder Woman, the 100-page 80th anniversary spectacular. I am a Wonder Woman fan, so this was good. This is good for me. There were a couple stories that I did not read because I was not interested. I didn't read the Young Diana, and I did not read the 60s mod story because it was all about, like, oh, let's make Clark Kent all hip and mod, and that annoyed me. So right from the very beginning. So I didn't get much past that, but I did read the rest of the stories, and I really did enjoy them. They ranged anywhere from being kind of modern inspired to being future inspired, in fact, and it was pretty good, run of the mill, kind of displaying who Wonder Woman is as a whole. It was pretty great. I did really enjoy it, and I'm gonna say right now, like, I'm a Wonder Woman fan, so I really did enjoy it. But if you're not really a Wonder Woman fan, you probably wouldn't pick this up in the first place. But if you're just a fair weather, Wonder Woman fan, you're probably gonna be a little bit not into this, and that's fine. I think this is really, because it is the 80th anniversary 100-page spectacular. It's really for those people that are really into Wonder Woman, of which I am, and of which I did enjoy it for the most part. Everything from the present, the retro looks at Wonder Woman, the future tense looks at Wonder Woman, they were all really great, and I did enjoy it. But for a $9.99, for a $10 book, you should probably like Wonder Woman to get this. That's just my viewpoint. But the next issue that we're going to talk about Crush and Lobo, number 5 of 8. And I'm really enjoying this. Right now we have Crush going out, and she is tasked with finding her father and bringing him back to the prison of which he tricked her and left her in. And she is following the breadcrumbs, so to speak, of Lobo to locate him, capture him, and bring him back to that jail. And she has kind of a time limit as well. Like, if she doesn't perform within a certain amount of time, it's not going to work out for her. So she does have, she does have to do, like, stuff within a certain amount of time. I really love it. It's funny and good humor, but you also have Crush kind of going through her own little, like, what does it all mean thing, and in regards to her girlfriend Katie, which is really nice, and she's kind of, trying to work things out for herself. So that's another, you pair that with, the humor, the overall of Lobo and his daughter Crush, and it's fun. It's a fun read, and I am liking it. So anyways, I recommend it. I'm gonna go on, and we're gonna talk about DC Horror Presents the Soul Plumber. DC Horror Presents Soul Plumber. It is 1 of 6. Now, I got a misprinted version, it says 1 in 5, but it is 1 in 6. And here we have the guys that are responsible for the podcast, Last Podcast on the Left, um, basically are responsible for this. They made up this story, that they came up with the concept of the story and wrote it. And so we have, um, it's a horror based because it's DC Horror Presents. But we have a guy named Edgar. Edgar basically gets kicked out of seminary school. He wants to be a priest, but they don't want him. And that's kind of really tragic for Edgar because he really loves Christ. So he's trying to figure out, like, how do I do this? How do I continue this kind of task of loving and spreading God's word and everything like that if I can't be a priest? And well, he becomes a gas station attendant. And through that, he meets a guy that's like a real charlatan, like a snake oil salesman kind of guy. And this guy tries to sell him on a device that is basically like a soul plumber. Like, he tells Edgar and a bunch of other people at like this presentation that it's like you can use it, you can pull the demons out of people. And Edgar is like, sign me up, okay? So, but unfortunately, this guy's like I said, like a charlatan. He's trying to make money off of a concept that does not work. So, but Edgar is ready he is down to clown in regards to this whole process because he's met people through being a gas station attendant that he would like to help. So when Edgar can't come up with the money that the guy wants for one of these machines, Edgar decides that the Almighty would be fine with him stealing what he believes are schematics and plans to make his own. So Edgar obviously takes the next step and makes his own, and I am not going to give away what happens with that because it is, you could probably, like chaos and hijinks ensue. And yeah, I'm not going to tell you whether it works or not. Because it's actually a really good comic and I think you should read it. So, moving on, we are going to talk about the man, the Swamp Thing. Okay, so 8 of 10. I am thrilled to have found out recently that there is going to be more Swamp Thing after this is over. So, Swamp Thing, Levi, is going through some stuff. Okay? So we're getting to the point where basically he's trying to deal with everything's happening, going on currently, and dealing with his past and how that all comes together. And he's trying to figure out, like, how does this work? How do I get past this? How do I do all this stuff? And how do I deal? Because obviously he is Swamp Thing now. So we are dealing with not only his past and trying to get, figure that out in his head, involving his brother and involving his dad, and how that kind of comes into the present big time. By the way, it comes into the present big time. Okay, so I don't want to give anything away involving that because it's really kind of cool how that happens. But the coolest part actually is he's also dealing with what's going on currently in his existence, where if you remember, the Suicide Squad has been tasked, led by Peacemaker, to find him and bring him back to Amanda Waller. Okay. So basically Peacemaker sends everyone back, like, okay, this is not going to work out. I'm going to take responsibility for this, and I'm going to send you all back, and I'm going to do one last ditch effort to fulfill our mission. Okay. And Swamp Thing encounters him, and he says, like, God, dude, I get it. I know what's going on. I get it. Swamp Thing is completely like in the know. And he's just like, how about I do you a solid? And I'm going to leave it at that. Swamp Thing does a major solid for Peacemaker. Like, and you're going to have to just read it to find out because that is way too spoilery. I can't tell you what Swamp Thing does for Peacemaker except that it's cool. Okay? It's cool. Especially if you do not. No. Zip, zippity zip. I am zipping the lip because I'm not going to tell you what Swamp Thing does for Peacemaker. Zipping it. You're going to have to read it because, and you will not be disappointed. In fact, here's the thing. Go back if you haven't been reading Swamp Thing and read this series of Swamp Thing because it is written by the man Ram V. Let me tell you something. I have become a fan of Mr. Ram V since I started reading comics again. Especially, and the thing is I was sleeping on Swamp Thing. If you guys go back, I wasn't reading Swamp Thing. No, I was not. I was not reading Swamp Thing, but you want to know what I was reading? I was reading Catwoman. Catwoman. Yes, sir. Ram V also writes Catwoman, among other things. And that's what got me to read Swamp Thing. And I sat down, and because my boyfriend, he was not sleeping on Swamp Thing. He was into Swamp Thing from Jump Street, and he kept on telling me, Carrie, you gotta be reading Swamp Thing. You gotta be reading Swamp Thing. Over and over again, I would hear about it. Don't know why you're not reading Swamp Thing. Well, finally, I listened, and I sat down in one evening, and I read, I think I came in on Swamp Thing, like, issue 5. So I read, like, the first 4 issues, and I read issue 5, and I've been hooked ever since. I'm excited for that beginning of the month when we get to read Swamp Thing. I mean, this series is going to be over soon, and I'll be sad again. But I'll still have other stuff. Plus, I also just recently found out that Ron V is going to be writing for Venom with Al Ewing. So that's also really great. That's going to be how I get into Venom because it's starting again at number 1 with Ron V and Al Ewing. You heard it here. You probably heard it about 5 to 10 times before I said it, but you also heard it here. Congratulations. Anyways, moving on, we're going to talk about the Batman. Oh God, you like what I did there? That was pretty fucking good. Oh my God, the Batman. Okay, Batman number 114, Fear States. Ooh. This one gets good. I mean, I've liked all the other Fear State ones, but this one gets good. Let me tell you, because it is, as it says on the cover, Peacekeeper X versus Peacekeeper 1. And let me tell you something. The art in this piece, top notch. Oh my God, him, Jorge Jimenez, and Dan Mora on Detective Comics, some of the most kick-ass art. Holy crap, guys. Holy crap. If somebody tells you that Dan Mora and Jorge Jimenez are doing some of the best art right now in comics, believe them, because there are plenty of examples in here of Jorge Jimenez, and last week involving Detective Comics with Dan Mora. Like, I mean, actually, I did talk about that last week with Dan Mora, Detective Comics. Holy crap. Yeah. Okay, so yes, we have Peacekeeper X versus Peacekeeper 1 in basically explosive showdown between the two of them. Literally, quite literally, explosive showdown between the two of them. As you remember, as you may recall, Peacekeeper 1 was dosed with a very potent version of the fear toxin and was running amok through Gotham City, which does not look good for Simon Saint and the Magistrate program. So Simon Saint decided to deploy his special weapon in the form of Peacekeeper X to go out and try to bring Peacekeeper 1 back in. And when I say Peacekeeper 1 has like run amok, I mean he is so afraid and he is seeing things and everything looks like a bunch of citizens, like scared citizens of Gotham looking like freaking like zombies to him, and he killed them all. He slaughtered like all these people, all right? So now they're trying to bring him in so that they can try and, work with him and get him down, a few levels here. And it's not working out. It's legit not working out, unfortunately. And so yeah, it's not working out. And so Peacekeeper X is fighting Peacekeeper 1, and you have Batman like, here, don't you see what the hell's going on here? And he is talking directly because he knows Simon Saint can hear him through all the comms and everything of the peacekeepers, right? So he's like talking. He's like, do you see what's going on here? Do you see, what's going on? And he's fighting too, right? So then you have all that action. You have literally everything that could be happening in that moment is happening in that moment within reason. Okay. So then, and all of that is just beautifully done. And then you have this side moment with Queen Ivy and Miracle Molly, which was really great as well. Like, Miracle Molly is just like sitting there talking to Queen Ivy, excuse me, and is talking about like, you could be so wonderful. You could do all these wonderful things if you, she's talking about like the process that she went through involving the Insanity Collective. You could be so wonderful if you could let go of your anger. You could do all these wonderful things. You have this power, and you have this, thing about you. And Ivy is just like sitting there and she's like, I'm not ready to let go of my anger. But she has this like really nice like conversation between her and Molly. And Molly gets this idea. Well, we don't know what the idea is yet. She comes kind of like not, she doesn't get an idea. She gets like a realization of something, and she goes to find Batman. We don't know what that is yet. Because basically the issue has her like, okay, finding Batman, being like, okay, I know this is bad, but hold on to your tights, bud, because I think I got something that you should hear. Basically, she's like, hold on to your spandex, Batman, because hold on. So obviously that was really great, but here's the thing. My comic of the week is another really strong art book, okay? This is Arkham City, The Order of the World. Yowzas, okay? This is my comic of the week. This is my pick right here. And it's done by Dan Waters, Danny, and Dave Stewart. Danny does the illustration. Dave Stewart does the colors. Dan Waters does the writing. And it's amazing. Right now, right away, looking at this cover, it gave me, when I saw it on another video, I wasn't even going to pick this up. And I saw it reviewed on another video, another YouTuber, and they talked about the art, and they showed off this cover. And I was like, I'll be damned if that's not giving me 90s Vertigo feels. Okay, Vertigo, not actual Vertigo, guys, but 90s Vertigo if you were Vertigo in the concept of comics, okay? Because if you do not know, in a nutshell, Vertigo was a basically a subline of DC Comics back in the 90s. It produced such things such as Sandman, the Def Comics, just different things. Vertigo is obviously no more. Kind of DC's new answer to that is Black Label. This is not a Black Label book, I don't believe. It usually will say if it is a Black Label book, but I don't see it saying that it's Black Label. Let me see here. Sometimes maybe it'll say on the back. Nope, it gives you an advertisement on the back. But yes, this is a pretty awesome book, and it is one of these lower priced ones at $3.99. So it's a limited series 1 through 6. This is issue number 1. So the art in this thing is actually really spectacular, and I'm actually going to pull this out of the plastic all the way to show you a little bit about what I'm talking about, since this is kind of the last one that I'm doing here today for you guys. Like, check out that first page. Not giving away a lot, but look at what Danny and Dave Stewart have done here. Not only do you have the 90s Vertigo feel on that cover, but then you flip that open and you see this art. And it is just amazeballs, okay? It's amazeballs. So what's the premise here? What are we doing here in this book? Well, the premise is that this book takes place after A-Day. There was one doctor, A-Day being the day that early on in Infinite Frontiers time period, where in Batman, A-Day is, I believe it happened in Infinite Frontier 0. A-Day is the evening that there's some really potent toxic substance, gas, going completely through Arkham Asylum, and some of the inmates escaped. Okay, so they've been at large. All right, and one of the security guards actually saved some people, and that actually became Peacekeeper 1. Mahoney came Peacekeeper 1, and there was one doctor that was not on the premises that evening. She had the day off, and that is Dr. Joy. Dr. Joy is our main character here, who has taken up the task, kind of working with Gotham Police Department. I say kind of working because if you've read it, you know that there's a difference of opinion and practice between the two of them, between her and the detective she's working with. But she is basically trying to round up all of her patients that escaped, that are not accounted for, but she has a difference of opinion on exactly how that should be handled. I kind of get where she's coming from. She doesn't want her patients, whom she views as being sick people, to be put, because there's no other place to put them, to be put in Blackgate Penitentiary, which is a pretty rough place, and they're not going to get the kind of attention they need there. So that's a problem for her. So this series is basically her and everyone trying to round up those inmates, those Arkham Asylum inmates that basically escaped death, basically. And that's really, it's a great story. I'm loving where it's going so far, and some of the really great stuff that I can tell that happens, I really can't tell you because it does give things away. Major plot points. But it was entertaining, and the art is amazing, and I love it. So that is my comic of the week. Holy moly. Okay, so all right. That's it. That's all I have to talk to you about. with my comics. I do plan on doing a really quick comic spotlight video on, I'm just going to be doing a comic spotlight on Arkham City, The Order of the World. It's probably going to take a day or two before I'm able to do it. Or I might just go ahead and scrap that for this week. But I also have a review that I'm going to be doing soon because I just finally read The Long Halloween. And so that's going to be coming. And what I want to do with that is I just read The Long Halloween, the full Long Halloween. And then I'm going to go, because now it's on HBO Max, both parts. So I'm going to go and I'm going to watch it. And I'm also going to do kind of a comparison thing. That's what I think I'm going to do. That's why it's coming up, but it's not coming right away. So stay tuned for that. As always, the weekly comic review happens. And thank you guys for coming. Thank you guys for being here and waiting for this video. I know it took me a while. But keep on coming. You know, if you have not subscribed to the page, but you're watching these, then you're watching me regularly talk about pop culture stuff, comics. I've had a couple of videos come up about Doctor Who because we've had a lot of stuff happening involving that. Check out my other videos. Yeah. So, you know, if you sometimes check out the videos here, but you don't necessarily subscribe, please subscribe, like, comment, join us on Facebook, follow me on Twitter. The information will be down below. And thanks, guys. Thanks for coming. This has been the weekly comic roundup. I am always Carrie Quinn with I am the officially unofficial geek. And I'll be seeing you guys.